When I first saw the promos for Riverdale back in the fall of 2016, I couldn't wait to see it. It looked so terrible. Like a CW stew of every Gossip Girl, Vampire Diaries teen melodrama cliche, painted over the beloved cheeseball world of the Archieverse. Turns out the joke was on me though, because I legitimately enjoyed it. And not in the hipster ironic hate watch way I was expecting. Not that everything on the show is good, in fact a lot of it is not, but the talent is engaging enough and the mysteries have enough twists that it keeps my interest from week to week. The hit CW drama just wrapped up its sophomore season, and honestly, it left me a little underwhelmed compared to the first season. So going into season 3, I couldn't help but think about what I'd like to see the future hold for the town with Pep. I'm Bo with Bootleg Video, and these are 10 things I'd like to see in season 3 of Riverdale. But before we begin, why don't you take a second and hit that subscribe button, and maybe that bell for notifications. Did you click them? Alright, let's do this.
Warning, the following content contains spoilers.
Number 10. Archie meets the Punisher.
Okay, I know this is a long shot, but one of Archie's most famous crossovers has to be Archie Meets the Punisher from 1994. Now, I don't need a direct adaptation of the one-shot, where the Punisher is sent to Riverdale by the government to kill a drug dealer that looks like Archie, but how cool would it be if in an episode of Riverdale, Archie walked into Pop's, and sitting in the back of the diner was John Bernthal eating a cheeseburger. They don't even need to make eye contact and it would be awesome!
Number 9. More thriller, less filler.
So, without being too much of a jerk, because writing is hard, Season 2 was a bit of a slog. The season-long Black Hood mystery was bloated with filler, less than exciting red herrings, and a climax that was only shocking because it wasn't shocking. Riverdale's first season benefited from its shorter 13-episode structure. Although there were still some unresolved threads, I'm looking at you, Grundy, less available screen time meant Riverdale needed to maximize its minutes when unraveling the whodunit of Jason Blossom's murder. With Season 3 getting full episode order, it might be a good idea for Riverdale to ditch the season-long mystery format in favor of multiple, shorter story arcs. Oh, the Black Hood should have been Grundy's ex-husband!
Number 8. Afterlife with Archie.
This could be like a one-off episode for Halloween. I don't even care if it all ends up being Hot Dog's dream. This story is great. Afterlife with Archie is like Night of the Living Dead meets the Archie gang. After Reggie kills Jughead's beloved dog Hot Dog, Jug begs Sabrina the Teenage Witch to use dark magic and bring him back to life. But as Herman Munster once said,
Sometimes, dead is better.
And so begins a tightly written, intense zombie tale as Archie and what remains of the Riverdale gang hole up in Lodge Manor to try and survive the oncoming apocalypse. And if the episode is a hit, the next Halloween, you can adapt other Archie horror tales, like the Jughead as a werewolf story, The Hunger, or the Veronica as a vampire story, Vampironica.
Number 7. Mystery without murder.
A murdered teen. A town split by class warfare. Teenage detectives determined to uncover the truth. A neo-noir aesthetic voiced over by a hard-boiled narrator. Allusions to incest. Of course, I'm talking about the greatest teen drama of all time, Veronica Mars! And the comparisons don't stop there. Snappy one-liners, sheriffs, single dads, rich villains who are only crazy because their parents are jerks but deep down they have hearts of gold, dogs with unique names. Okay, that's all I got. But why am I talking about Veronica Mars? Because it proved you don't need a massive body count to keep your mystery interesting. Hoo boy, was there a lot of murdering in Riverdale last season. At least 10 homicides, which is about 5 times as many as in season 1. And of those 10, the only character the audience really knew was Miss Grundy. Unless they're going to reveal that Riverdale sits on a hellmouth or something, they should probably ease up a bit.
Number 6. Consistency and characters.
This is one that's bugged me since the beginning. Often characters will act in ways that don't seem to be in line with what we know about them, and do so only because the plot needs them to. Alice, in one single episode, goes from hating the Southside Serpents and talking trash about them in the newspaper, to going full eyeliner and leather jacket and drinking in their bar. There was like zero middle ground. This is not how a human behaves. Comic book Reggie is clearly Archie's nemesis, but CW Reggie flips from friend to foe depending on what the episode needs. Probably the most egregious offense of character consistency comes from Cheryl Blossom. Is she friends with Betty and Veronica or not? They have slumber parties, I guess, but Veronica calls her fascist Barbie. Sometimes I feel like the character is more of a plot device, and the writers can justify her actions by just saying, wow, you never know what to expect from Cheryl, which just seems lazy. And let's not get started on that weird 180 where she went from, I'm being tortured in a hellish insane asylum to, hey, I'm gonna star in the musical, in the same episode.
Number 5. Where's the pep?
At the end of season 2, Archie is taken away in handcuffs after being framed for murder, and we're supposed to feel bad. The problem is, though, the CW Archie is a frickin' monster. Here's a list of Archie's crimes just off the top of my head. Formed a vigilante group, vandalized properties with red circles, illegally purchased an unlicensed firearm, trafficked drugs into Greendale, assaulted a kid with 2 broken legs, worked for a known gangster, organized his vigilante group to threaten gangsters to help the gangster he worked for, tossed a Molotov cocktail at a bunch of people, and threatened a gangster with a deadly weapon. And he's not the only one who should be in jail. Kidnapping, arson, mutilation, hiding a dead body. I'm not saying the show needs a complete tonal shift, but part of what made the first season so intriguing was how something horrible, the murder of Jason Blossom, could happen in a town as idyllic as Riverdale. Now we've got a drug epidemic, mobsters, brothels, gangs, other gangs, and serial killers. Dang, Riverdale. Maybe just lighten up a bit.
Number 4, focus on the high school characters.
I don't think I'll be shocking anyone when I say that Riverdale supporting characters, specifically the ones at Riverdale High, don't get utilized to their full potential. Mr. Weatherby, Delton Doyley, Moose, Ethel, and Reggie are always hurting for screen time. But the two that really stand out are Josie McCoy and Kevin Keller. Josie's character lacks direction. Once thought of as a strong voice at Riverdale High, this season, in the episodes where Josie did appear, she was having the pussycat stolen from her, getting pushed around by her mom, or being tormented by Cheryl. Oh, and there was that one time she conspired with Ethel to humiliate Veronica. Kevin, on the other hand, often gets relegated to just being the gay best friend, only existing to throw out sassy one-liners.
This is riveting. I can't breathe.
His largest contributions to the season were hooking up with strangers in the woods, directing the High School Musical, and promoting Riverdale producer Greg Berlanti's feature film, Love, Simon. If anything had to go to make room for Josie, Kevin, and the rest of the Riverdale High characters, I think I'd be okay cutting back on the parents. As talented as the actors are, you can only watch the lodges conspire so many times before your brain goes into autopilot.
Number 3, characters over visuals.
Okay, let me preface this by saying I love some of Riverdale's more ridiculous choices. Does it make sense that the River Vixens have black funeral uniforms? No. Does it make sense that Cheryl would take the time to raid Thea's closet before retaliating against the Black Hood? Of course not. But were they great? Absolutely. And the reason I can get behind those ridiculous choices because they didn't sacrifice character development just for a cool shot that would look good in a promo. Why would Jughead, who distrusts the lodges, agree to kiss Veronica, his girlfriend's best friend and his best friend's girlfriend, right in front of them? He justifies it by saying it's to prevent a future fight with Betty about her kiss with Archie, but that seems like a stretch for a character with such strong convictions. Cheryl, who didn't even want the Southsiders to be in the same school as her, joins the Southside Serpents, and even gets her own red leather jacket. But don't women have to do some kind of public underpants dance to join the Serpents? Betty did one, and she never got a jacket. Why did Cheryl drop the flag at the drag race? She wasn't even part of that story. I feel like I'm picking on Cheryl. Why did Jughead kick in Betty's door? Was it locked? These are just a few examples of Riverdale's style over substance issues.
Number 2, Betty versus Veronica.
For over 75 years, the bedrock of Archie comics has been one thing. Betty and Veronica both love Archie, and that buck-toothed ginger can't make up his mind. Though friends on the show, in the comics, B and V are frenemies at best. They've always been about one passive-aggressive comment away from punching each other in the throat. There have been little hints to this iconic love trial on Riverdale over the last 2 seasons, especially in season 1, but lately it's been pretty clear that Archie's made up his mind. And that stinks for me, because I've always been more Team Barchie. After a season of dead bodies piling on top of other dead bodies, Riverdale could use some fresh air. Taking a breather from the crime noir drama and leaning into its more teen-centric roots might be the best thing for it. Okay, so if you break up Bughead, what does Forsyth P. Jones III do with all his free time?
Number 1, someone get Jughead a burger.
Going into Riverdale, I knew one thing about Jughead. That dude was always eating burgers. Unlike his pal Archie, Jughead had zero interest in girls, because it would be a distraction from his true love, which is eating. But it wasn't until the first season finale of Riverdale that angsty beanie-wearing Jughead finally got to stuff his face. And since then, he's maybe had like 2 more burgers. Worst of all, every once in a while, someone on the show will say something like, "Jughead, you're always eating." No, he's not. You just can't say something like that and never have him do it. Someone get the man a damn hamburger. So, maybe if it wasn't clear from this video, I do like the show. They've earned enough goodwill from the first season, and I enjoy their modern comic counterparts enough that I'm willing to keep watching live when season 3 premieres. I'm just less excited than I was for the season 2 premiere. But what do you want to see next season? Are you more of a Betty or more of a Veronica? Did I leave out any of Archie's horrific crimes? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Bo with Bootleg Video. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Insert catchphrase here.